Well, welcome back, everybody. I do apologize. Our main camera, which you're looking at right now, dropped out on us. So hopefully, you all can get a little view. This is just the camera that overlooks sort of the backyard area of the studio, and then looking up to the hill towards the string shoe camp. And in the foreground, there are some bird feeders. Um, and at this time of year now, we have hummingbirds and many different species of birds. So that area there soon it's going to be developed into a more of a bird garden to attract native birds and then migrating birds. And then during the winter on the grass there you will see deer in the winter. And we also have wild turkeys as well, which are coming in quite a lot at the moment. Sometimes what this camera might do is it might pause, and it happens with this camera. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking with us. I hope that you're seeing what I'm looking at right now. And if you're stopping by, letting us know where you're from in the world. I know many of the subscribers on the Worldwide Folklore Tales will probably see this video, after the fact. And it would be nice to have some of you guys. We have many friends in India actually, and the time zone's very different, so they like to look at these videos and see a piece of Maine and enjoy the sunsets, and and we're looking forward to storytelling up on that hill very soon. We've already done that one episode, as you all know, and if you've seen it. And there are going to be more, so we're looking forward to a Halloween special, which is coming up, and we're looking forward to that. So, don't be shy. Hello, what's the name? Stylinson. Wow, that's a heck of a name. What's the name Stylinson? Well, I'm curious about that name. Where does that come from? Hello from down East Maine. Hello, down East Maine. I wouldn't really say that we're in Maine, but I don't know whether we're down east. Maybe we are. I don't know. I'm an English guy, so I don't know where I am in the world these days. Anywho, welcome, Stylinson, if that's okay. I'll call you that. Thanks for stopping by. It's cool to see you. Let us know if you have any stories that you like. Do you like your fairy stories or spooky stories, ghost stories, paranormal stories? Or like me, I'm a little bit of all in between. I like to I like to delve into all of the mysteries of life, basically. Yeah. I see, yeah. Hi, Richard Rigo. Hi there. Yeah, the shot of the water fountain is pretty good as a place to see your bird visitors. That's true. And you know what? The good thing about that is we're coming up into the autumn now. Fall soon, I guess. And, that fountain's going to be a nice warm place for those birds to be, because the native birds are going to need a place to drink, and they're also... and so we're going to put a little heater in that bath, and it'll be warm for them, so they can sit in there and get a drink too, and bathe, and that's important if you're you guys out there, if you're into wildlife and nature and bird watchers, bird lovers in particular. I particularly am very much into birds, and I think living in a place where you've got the environment to bring those birds into your yard and let them entertain you, it's like, personally, for me anyway, it's like having your own, kind of aviary. But you're not trapping them inside a glass place or a cage. You're inviting them in. And quickly, I think you'll find that those birds soon get very accustomed to you, and it's quite pleasant to walk around in your yard and have birds just sitting a foot away from you. Personally, I just had a hummingbird sit about a foot away from me and just check me out. And it's, hummingbirds are great for that. Many of you probably know this. But if you don't, they're one of the most personable birds you can ever wish to meet. And they make you feel like nature is a part of you and you are a part of it. And if you give them some sugar water in a feeder, they'll come round and they'll say hi, you know, and spend time with you. So, yeah, that's a good thought, huh? So we can see the fire over there, a little fire right now. The sunset setting behind the tree line. Pretty soon all of this is going to turn dark, you know. And that pathway there is going to be lighting up the way that you would walk when you leave this campfire site here, and you're invited to walk up the pathway and join us by the fireside up on the String Shoe Camp on the top of the hill. And there we will probably toast and eat food together, and then be joined by maybe String Shoe or maybe another storyteller, who knows. And that will be an experience that everybody will enjoy and be a part of, and that's going to be exciting. And, you know, because we're coming up to Halloween and fall and everything else, it's the perfect time. We're approaching the end of summer, and we're going to see all of those leaves go, and we're going to go into a new season and a new, you know, where if you store your food, I guess, you know, like squirrels or anything else, that's what they're all preparing for now. So it's really good to see nature do that. Thank you, Stylinson. That's appreciated. Yeah, 150 feet long, those lines. So, on the top of the hill, though, I have to say it looks amazing. You won't see that right now. But the camera that we're placing in the next couple of weeks is going to be on that tree to the right, and it looks down over the camp, so it actually sees about 400 or 500 feet all around that area at night in full colour, so that's going to be really good. And that's what we're going to be doing with the live stream. So yeah, actually the camera image to me looks a lot brighter than what I'm looking at right now, but I'm going to sit by and just enjoy the view for a little bit. Okay, so we've just camera's just switched into night vision there, guys, and that's why we have the black and white image. And we could put the floodlight on and to light that up, but if you're there, let us know which you prefer. Put the floodlight on. It's the torch icon. That is awesome. Yeah, now the light on the camera definitely makes a big difference. So we can continue to see, how those lights are gonna change. Honestly, how they light up the trees is what we're looking for, right? So when you're up there having the experience, then you want those trees to glow. And so we always thought here at Worldwide Folklore Tales that we wanted that little nook of the woods just to sort of glow a little bit at night. And so we'll see. Let's see how that works out. If you want to stick by us, this is going to run for a little while. We're blessed with good weather. We had rain earlier, and then the skies cleared and allowed us to have this window. And so we're going to take good opportunity of that. Hi, Karen. Karen Rigo. Hi. Thanks for sharing your beautiful outdoors with us. Have you seen any sightings of little animals on your property? Well, wow. Yes, lots. And big ones, actually. A massive squirrel the other day was funny, and I did a shot of that, and it was like, I've never seen a squirrel so big in my life, I swear. I mean, it was bigger than a cat. And in fact, I didn't know what it was. I recognized the tail and was like, well, that's a squirrel. But I've never seen a squirrel tail that big. It was about 1.5 feet long and about 1 foot wide. So, and then I saw it sitting on this rock. And I thought, well, I just wish I had a camera good enough, because I was using the cell phone at the time and I had it on maximum zoom. And it wasn't very good, you can't, it's distorted, pixelated and stuff. And yeah, it was massive. Squirrel. I couldn't believe how big it was. Man, it was incredible size. Yeah. You what? Kissy piss. I have a squirrel problem. They are everywhere. Oh yeah, they're everywhere. Oh, they're everywhere. I mean, squirrels are great, honestly, but if they're like, I don't know, they have the personality, isn't there, a piece, of everything. And it's gone back into black and white here. But they can be a nuisance too. So it depends on how you approach them. They're great in your yard, and if you feed them right, and you just make sure you're not feeding them your expensive bird food. That's the thing. But yeah. What kind of wildlife, Richard Rigo says, do you have visit your camp? Okay, coyotes, deer, and recently, actually, wild turkey. So, first time we've seen that, but a whole flock of wild turkeys, Richard. Yeah, interesting. Right up on the hill there, to the left of the fire right now, where you see the lights going up on the left. If you're looking at the image, it's kind of a little blurry, but hopefully you can see just where that tree is. There was about, I would say, about 10 or 15 of them, young ones, and then 2, adults. And they walked over the top of the hill and disappeared. Yeah. And then our producer, Pam, was out there by herself and was recording something, just showing the lights. And then she said she heard this weird noise behind her. So she was kind of freaked out and started to run away. And then there was a gunshot, So it was like, yeah, it's people hunting those wild turkeys. Oh no. Bushy-tailed squirrels mean a colder winter, I've heard, says Richard. I haven't heard that one personally. I mean, you know what? Squirrels are... This one was an old squirrel, let's just say. 3 years plus. So, yeah. It's been well fed for a long time, and there's no... yeah, but that's an interesting thought, that. I wonder if anybody else, says the same thing. Bushy-tailed squirrels mean a colder winter. I'm going to say that I think we're in for a colder winter this year because we're long overdue, guys. A few years. So, and autumn is definitely, as I call it, autumn. It seems to be coming earlier. The oak trees are certainly turning. The leaves are turning earlier. So, that's a surefire sign of a colder winter. Don't that? Old folks' tales. Well, we're into folklore. I mean, isn't folklore an old folks' tale? So you can see the sunset is beautiful right now. If we could just move that camera, it would be really nice. But I don't want to. I don't want to jinx it, you know. Oh, great! Thank you, Kissy. That's really encouraging. Like I said earlier, guys, if you're stopping by, a lot of folks are probably going to be watching this stream, you know, after the fact. And I mentioned some friends in India, and they're all sleeping right now, or they're probably going through their day, you know. We have some friends who are also creators who are artistic, you know, they paint, and we value their contributions to the channel very much. And so I know that for them, you know, they get to watch this when they're relaxing at night and just see this image, you know. I guess if you live in a town or a city and something like that, then this is kind of relaxing. But if you check back on some of the videos where you go beyond and deeper into the forest, that's a little bit more mysterious, you know. And there are places in Folklore Forest, guys, that we'll hardly ever get to. So it draws my mind to thinking about one day, you know, having a drone and flying the drone over those places and being able to give you something, you know, which is of different elevations rather than just a ground view, or, you know, from us walking or anything like that. But let us know what you think about that. We'll probably do a poll, maybe on the channel sometime, you know, and see what you think about that. Yeah, thank you, Karen. So, me too. We look forward to being out and cold and putting on our winter gear, that's for sure. I personally don't mind the cold. Don't know about you guys. Summer's nice, obviously, but we just went through a bit of a mini heat wave in Maine, and I have to say, it's so mild and nice. Reminds me of England, you know. In fact, a hot day in England is a joke. It's like 76 degrees, and that's the hottest to ever get. And if you hit 95, then you're fry. You know. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a heat bubble, and we kind of struggled with that a little bit, for sure. But certainly looking forward to the autumn. Oh, and barbecues. Woohoo! Storytelling on top of the hill for Halloween, cooking hot dogs and telling stories. Sounds fun, guys, huh? You'll see us switching from time to time as we go from night vision. That's because the camera wants to go to night vision for some reason and not leave the floodlight on for us. So our producer right now is we're screencasting, actually, to be fair, and right at this point to make the stream happen. So we're struggling with that and going backwards and forwards. You might see that on your screen, and there we go. So, guys, what would be, if you're interested in storytelling, or you have a story that you... let me phrase it differently. If you were in an environment like this, and you were sitting around a campfire at night, and let's say you're eating hot dogs cooked over an open fire, and maybe some hamburger, or, you know, whatever, and then you have your stories, right? I believe, personally, that everybody has a story, but I think that the story has to be genuine, not made up. I think that it's a genuine story that comes from you. And I personally, I think some people have one and some people have two. But if you have more than that, then you're making it up. That's me. If you were sitting around a campfire and you wanted to tell a story, would it be one that you'd want to recite that you knew? Or would it be one that you'd passed on, you know, been passed on? And would you be prepared to tell one of those stories around a campfire if you were invited, you know? That's something to think about if you're interested. I like to hear old folklore stories that haven't been heard for a long time, and that surprises people. Some of my friends in India have found some things from our shorts recently they didn't know about, like the lost city of Dwarka, and other stories, some of which are actually from their region, and yet they didn't know about those legends. I'm not really sure why. Perhaps they will let us know, when they watch this video. But yeah, Richard Rigo, if you're still there, I'm sure you have a story that you enjoy, maybe from childhood or something like that. Some kind of like a will-o'-the-wisp thing, that everybody gets told when they're kids. Oh, be careful if you go into the woods. Yeah, that is true. And I think that storytelling is about that, isn't it? About sharing it. I think it crosses divides, and I think that's a good point. Because it doesn't matter which background you come from, or maybe if you have a divide, you wouldn't perhaps know that actually if you were sitting across a campfire from somebody who is sharing stories and eating food and having fun. Other things might just come into that at all, other than just that love of story and sharing that story. So it's a nature as well is a very important part of that surrounding. If we do it in, say, our sitting rooms, that's cool, but we're still surrounded by everything that we have. And I think part of the passion about being outdoors for people is to be able to have that experience of being outdoors, literally, and experience nature. And even if it's only for a little while, and then you go back to normality, if you want to call it that, you get to have a feel of it. And I think it refreshes you, I think a lot of people think that, but yeah, and nature. Well, that's awesome, guys. Thank you. Camera's just off for a second while we refresh. I'm very personally interested that somebody emailed us recently about a story, and I've been meaning to try and cover that story for a long time, actually, and it deserves justice. And when we do get the ability to be able to produce it properly, then it'll be coming. But I think for now we're going to be looking at the forest and enjoying nature, and telling stories about nature. It includes nature and is a part of nature. And then being able to show it off like that. I mean, oof. I love that. I love when it gets really dark at night. I get excited walking up that pathway. I do feel like String Shoe, actually. Somebody said to me that, yeah, are you String Shoe? I said, no. No, I'm not. String Shoe is a character that anybody can be when they actually feel that they are at one with the woods around them. And I know, for me, it comes from a passion of meeting people who've actually lived in woods. And I said to one guy once, and this was in England, and I asked him, how long have you lived out here? And he said, 20 years, 25 years. And I said, you don't remember? And he said, no. He said, I haven't counted a single day that, I live off the land. Everything I need, it gives me. I have some luxuries that I go to town for every now and again. And I was like, my mind honestly was blown by that, because I'm living in a city, right? I'm like, wow, that must be amazing, So first chance I got, I tried it myself for a while, and I kind of got that, and I didn't want to go back, to be honest. But it's not for everybody. But if you're in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts of America or anywhere else, and are in the military even, I think most people understand that, you know. I'm going to take a break for guys, so I'll be right back. Please enjoy the view.